U.S. involvement in World War II.
And for many local veterans, the Pearl Harbor bombing was life-changing. It's a day they still remember vividly and are proud to recount. Our Olivia Sandusky shares their stories, and they tell us why it's important to remember this historic day each and every year.
I've been 95 years old now, and I can think about it every day since it happened.
December 7th, 1941 was a day that shaped the course of Robert Borelli's life. It's the day Japan launched a surprise attack on a U.S. naval base in Hawaii, killing around 2,400 Americans and leading President Roosevelt to declare war.
This will live in infamy. That's what his exact words on the radio. I'll never forget those words.
The bombing also led Robert and millions of Americans to join the armed forces.
I was so upset about that. So as soon as I turned 17, well, then I enlisted in the Navy. I worked on big transport planes that brought the wounded men from the Pacific.
Robert isn't the only Palm Desert veteran who remembers Pearl Harbor.
This is always my pride and joy.
Blaine Mack is a retired Air Force pilot who was visiting a friend during the attack.
He said, "Come in here." And he had a little radio up on the shelf there. And that thing was literally jumping off of there. And it was telling about the Pearl Harbor. And we looked at each other and said, well, we both know what's in stock for us now, don't we?
Blaine served as a distinguished lieutenant colonel not only in World War II, but in the Korean War and in Vietnam. He says December 7th gave his life a purpose.
As horrible as it seemed, in the long run, that turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it gave me a direction to go.
Unfortunately, the group of veterans who lived through that day is getting smaller. The Palm Springs Air Museum's annual Remembrance event hopes to provide a platform to share their stories. Historian Michael Cara says remembering their sacrifices is critical.
We need to keep the memory alive of our greatest generation. We had 16 million American men in uniform fighting for our country in World War II. And for America, it all started on December the 7th, 1941. And it's a day we need to remember.
And for our Valley veterans, their spirit is alive and well.
Oftentimes I've been asked, would you do it again? And my answer is always, in a minute.
If I had to, I'd do it again.
Olivia Sandusky, NBC Palm Springs.
That's great. We've still got some of these guys.